Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing very well. In today's video, I will be giving you my round 2 NRL tips of 2023. Last week in round 1, I managed to get 4 of the 8 games correct. Round 1 was very crazy. From seeing the Dolphins debut, upsetting the Sydney Roosters with everyone majority wanting the Roosters to win, the Broncos upsetting the Penrith Panthers, and the Panthers losing back-to-back games at Penrith Stadium from St Helens, and Broncos both the same score. That could potentially happen this week as well. Rabbitohs finally beating the Sharks at PointsBet Stadium since 2014, and all of the Queensland teams managed to win round 1 games. I think this has been a long while since we've seen all the 3 Queensland teams winning round 1, then the first time 4 Queensland teams winning round 1. That was such an extraordinary round. But what does round 2 have in store for us? We'll just have to wait and see. Without further ado, let's get into the NRL round 2 tip-in video. And the first game kicking off round 2 of the NRL is between the back-to-back defending premiers, the Penrith Panthers, and my boys, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The Panthers were shockingly upset against the Brisbane Broncos last week in round 1 as they lost 13-12. Broncos beating them for the first time since 2009 at Bluebet Stadium. And it's the back-to-back games that Penrith have lost by 1 point at Bluebet Stadium, 13-12, both against the Helens and the Broncos. While the South Sydney Rabbitohs managed to pull off a win over the Cronulla Sharks, winning for the first time since 2014. Rabbits winning at PointsBet Stadium, 27-18 since 2014. Now, this game coming up on Thursday night is going to be an exciting encounter. Now, yes, I know we have become a bogey side for Penrith in the last couple of encounters, but hear me out on this. So, in the last 10 encounters between the two clubs, obviously Penrith have been the more dominant team. They have won 9 of the past 10 encounters, which includes winning the last 4 or 5. The only win the Rabbitohs have gotten over the Penrith was in the 2021 qualifying final, where the South Sydney Rabbitohs won 16-10, and that was at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Now, this will be the first meeting between the two of this year. These two will clash in round 8 in a couple of weeks, but I'll get into round 8 when that comes. But for the Rabbits, really, they might lose this game, as they have Jai Arrow and Tavia Totola out. I don't think Totola will be able to play this game as he suffered HIA, and it's a 5-day turnaround. Well, Jai Arrow has been confirmed with a hamstring injury, and he's going to be most likely out for a couple of weeks. While the concerns with Latrell Mitchell, it seems like he might have done his PCL or something. He'll be sent scans. Now, I can't confirm if he'll be able to play or not. It's a 50-50 chance. I hope he does play, because he is needed to win for the Rabbits. But anyways, for this game, I will be tipping an upset here. I will tip the Rabbitohs, my team, to win 1-12 by 4 points. I reckon this is going to be a very fun encounter, and I think it's well deserved for the Rabbitohs to finally get a win over Penrith, and I think Penrith might crumble a bit as well in this clash. Now, call me unbiased if you want, but honestly, I'd rather pick the Rabbitohs, not because I'm biased, but I think we do have the chance to beat them. Hey, no one predicted Broncos pretty much to beat the Panthers. The majority picked Penrith to win over the Broncos, and look what happened. That could happen on this Thursday night, so I'll back my boys to win 1-12. Our next game is our first of 2 Friday games, which kicks off at 6 PM at CommBank Stadium, which is between the Parramatta Eels and the Cronulla Sharks. The Eels last week in the NRL season opener against the Melbourne Storm were very close to winning. It was a bit sloppy between the Eels and Storm, but overall, Eels played very well against the Storm, despite losing only by 4 points in Golden Point. But while the Cronulla Sharks lost to my team, the Rabbitohs, 27-18, they did look a bit sloppy as well. I mean, they had no Nico Hines. I mean, Braden Trindle did his very best he could at halfback, but without Nico Hines and Royce Hunt, I think the Sharks would have been a lot more better. But regardless, This will be another great clash, as both teams lost their respective games last week. Now, in their history, in their past 10 encounters, the Sharks have been the more dominant team, as they have won 7 of their past 10 encounters, which includes winning the 5 in a row between 2016 and 2018. Now, this will be the second encounter between the two clubs at CommBank Stadium, as the first time they met wasn't until 2021, when it was called Bank West, when Parramatta prevailed. They won 28 points to 4. Now, for this game, I could see it going either way, but I believe the Eels will redeem themselves, so I will go to Eels to win by 8 points with a scoreline of 24-16 to win 1-12. I don't think they'll be able to lose back-to-back home games at CommBank. That's rarely happened, but I hope the Eels have a better game, and also the Sharks. So I reckon this will be another great clash. So Eels to win by 8. And rounding off the Friday night game, which kicks off at 7:50 p.m. to 8 o'clock, or 6:50 p.m. 7 p.m. up there in Queensland, is the Queensland Derby, the rivalry between the Brisbane Broncos and the North Queensland Cowboys. Both the Broncos and the Cowboys won their respective games by 1 point, with the Broncos upsetting the Panthers at Bluebet Stadium 13-12, while the Cowboys managed to hold off a Raiders comeback, winning with a field goal 19-18. Both of the games were incredible. I think the Broncos upset was more appealing. Cowboys did drop in the second half, but I hope to see that both teams will go at each other. Now, in their past 10 encounters, it has been 5 each way, with the Cowboys winning the last 4 of 5. The Brisbane Broncos' last win against the Cowboys was in Brisbane back in 2021, where they won 37-18. Now, I can see either team winning this game. I mean, even the betting odds are very close, but they got the Brisbane as favourites because it's in some court. But regardless, so this was one of the few tips that I have struggled with to pick. So I picked the Broncos for upsetting the Panthers. Their defense was very amazing. Well, I should pick the Cowboys because they managed to hold. They scored heaps of points in the first half, but they dropped off in the second half, but only scoring a one point field goal from Chad Townsend. Oh boy, this was very tough to pick, but I'm only going to get one of these correct, so I will go the Cowboys to win 1-12 by 2 points, with a 2-point field goal from Valentine Holmes, with a scoreline of 16-14. I think this could be game of the round, honestly. I could see the Broncos winning as well. If the Broncos win, I'm not surprised, but I will pick the Cowboys just because they have been the better team in the past encounters than the Broncos. But anyways, Cowboys to win by 2 points. Our first of 3 Super Saturday games. The first one kicking off at 3 p.m. is between the Sydney Roosters and the New Zealand Warriors at Allianz Stadium. The Roosters were upsetted last week. The Dolphins beat them in their debut match. Dolphins prevailed 28-18. I think the Roosters did alright in their clash against the Dolphins, but oh my, the Dolphins were the better team. I'll get to them when I get to the next game with them. While the Warriors, so they lost 28-18. While the Warriors keep their round 1 winning streak continuing after they've won 4 of the past 6 round 1 games. They beat the Newcastle Knights over there in Wellington in New Zealand at Sky Stadium, winning 20 points to 12. While they got their first win in New Zealand as well. Now, these two have not been up in the past 10 encounters between the two. The Roosters have won 6 of their past 10 encounters, which includes winning 5 straight. So the Warriors have not won against the Roosters since 2018. Unbelievable. But for this game, I could see the Warriors definitely winning. Now, if for this game, I would love to see the Warriors pull an upset over the Roosters, but unfortunately, I think I see the Roosters prevailing. So I'll go the Roosters to win by 6 points with a scoreline of 30-24. I think this might be a high-scoring game. Now, I could see the Warriors winning this game, but I don't think they're not up there yet. I would love to see the Warriors improve this year, but they have an abysmal record winning in Australia, especially in Sydney. But I definitely do see them being very close to winning. So the Roosters to prevail by 6 points. Our next game on Super Saturday, which takes place at 5:30 here in New South Wales, 4:30 up there in Queensland, which is between the brand new team, the Dolphins, against the Canberra Raiders. Now, last week the Raiders managed to come back from 18 points down, but only just lost to a field goal against the Cowboys. Raiders were awfully terrible in the first, and they've lost Jordan Rapin after to suspension, so that's going to be a heavy loss for the Raiders. While the Dolphins upset the Roosters in probably the biggest upset of 2023, honestly, winning 28-18 at a very jam-packed Suncorp Stadium against the Roosters. And this game is taking place at KO Stadium, or formerly known as Morton Daly Stadium, there in Redcliffe. Now, there is no history between the two. These two have never... obviously the Dolphins are the new team. So I won't go into that far. But I definitely see, for this game, I'll definitely see the Dolphins. I will tip the Dolphins to win this game. After everyone wrote them off pretty much last week, they stumped the entire NRL. They are here. They're a team to watch out for. But we'll have to see how they go against the other teams going forward. But I'll see the Dolphins winning probably my only 13, one of the two 13 plus games I've got. I see the Dolphins winning 13 plus by 16 points with a scoreline of 26-10. So I'm going the Dolphins to win by 16. And the final game ending off Super Saturday is taking place at Amy Park at 7:35 p.m, which is between the Melbourne Storm and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. The Storm managed to keep their round one 20 plus undefeated streak continuing, as Craig Bellamy is assumingly in his final year, most likely. So that means he has kept his round one winning streak since he came to Melbourne Storm as the head coach. And they managed to beat the Parramatta Eels 16-12 from Golden Point. Well, the Bulldogs were dismal against the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles, losing 31 points to 6. Unbelievable. And they were the only team to be defeated 13 plus. Unbelievable. Now, in recent clashes, the Melbourne Storm have been the more dominant team, as they have won 7 of the past 10 encounters, which includes winning 7 straight. So the Bulldogs have last beat the Storm back in 2016 when they won 18-12. And also, Bulldogs have not won in Melbourne since 2016. So it's a bit hesitant for the Bulldogs to probably win this game, but I will back up the Storm to win this game. I mean, it will take time for the Dogs to gel with their new squad and that, but I think Melbourne will be easily outclassed here. Melbourne to win by 18 points with a scoreline of 26-8. So, but Melbourne to win 13 plus. Our first of 2 Sunday games, which kicks off at 4 p.m, is between the West Tigers and the Newcastle Knights down there at Leichhardt Oval. Both these teams lost to the Warriors and the Titans respectively. Tigers were very awful against the Gold Coast Titans, losing 22-10, while the Knights did very ordinary against the Warriors, losing 20 points to 12. Now, in the past 10 encounters between the two, they have won 5 games each, which includes the Knights winning 3 of their past 5. And also, the last time these two clashed at Leichhardt Oval, which was back in 2020, the Knights would win that game 42-24. Now, this will be the 3rd game they've played each other at Leichhardt. The first one back all the way to 2011, where the Tigers won by 1 point, 17-16 against the Knights. So this will be only the third time these two have played at Leichhardt Oval. And honestly, I wouldn't really give a hooter's ass about this game. I mean, this is going to be another awful game. Probably the most awful game of the round, honestly, alongside the next game, which I'll get into. But for this game, I will tip the Knights to win. I think the Knights were a bit better than the Tigers. I know it's a Tigers home game, but I think Knights will prevail here. I think the Knights will win by 4 points with a scoreline pretty similar to their clash at Campbelltown last year, 14-10. If it's the same score, I'll be amazed. But anyways, the Knights to win by 4. And the final game wrapping up round 2 is probably going to be another disastrous game, but it'll be a lot more better than the Tigers Knights game. Is between the St George Illawarra Dragons playing their first game of 2023 after having the bye in round 1 against the Gold Coast Titans. Now, like I said before, Dragons had the bye last week, so they're obviously starting in 9th place. So they had an extra week to prepare, but they're going to have to wait till Sunday night at 6:15, which this game takes place at the Strata Jubilee Stadium, or Cogra. While the Gold Coast Titans managed to beat the West Tigers in a better encounter than the previous one in last year's encounter between the Tigers and Titans, with the Titans winning 22 points to 10. Now, I think the Titans' defense against the Tigers was very good, but they've got to improve a lot. So, in recent encounters, the Dragons have won 6 of the past 10 encounters, which includes winning 5 straight between 2017 and 2020. But the Titans have won 3 of the past 5 against the Dragons, with the Dragons beating them in their last encounter 46-26 at Wynn Stadium. Now, for this game, I will back the Titans to win this game. I think Titans did a solid defense, played a solid game against the Tigers last week. Now, I think the Titans will win by 10 points with a scoreline of 20 points to 10. Well, I know I'm not saying that Dragons will win, but Dragons have been really, all the off-season drama and all that, and with the coach with Anthony Griffin, it's going to become more worse after what we see on Sunday. Who knows? But anyways, I will take the Titans to win by 10 points. And that, everyone, will conclude my round 2 NRL tips of 2023. Honestly, I could see a couple games going either way, but these are the tips that I made. I forgot to mention in the Panthers Rabbitohs game, I'll see the Rabbitohs winning by 4 with a scoreline of 22-18. That's the only thing I forgot to mention. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Our channel is growing so very fast. We are very close to, I believe I'm around about 35 subscribers till reaching 700. So if I can reach that by the end of the week, that will be amazing. But without further ado, I'll see each and every one of you in the next video. My next video will be the Super League round 4 tipping video, which that will be coming out tomorrow. Without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.